Welcome back, life travelers, to another video by Ricardos Travels.
One is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and see the way I see. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me.
So, I think we can all agree that good information is helpful, right? Because if you're in Dallas, Texas, and you want to travel to Phoenix, Arizona, it would be good information and helpful to know Phoenix, Arizona is to the west of Dallas, Texas, and which way west is, and which road takes you there. That's all good information. And it's helpful if that's factual and accurate information. Because if you check some site or talk to someone and says, well, Phoenix is east of Dallas, Texas, that's bad information. Can we agree on that? I think we can. So yeah, so if you went east, it'd take you a heck of a long time to get to Phoenix if you ever got there at all, and it would be dangerous. So in the same way, this pandemic thing is the same way. I think it's helpful to get the accurate information. And it's helpful to get information that's going to keep you safe and your loved ones safe. Well, keep everybody safe. So I'm just going to roll in some statistics here, and it's not to start an argument. It's not to get political, because knowing which way Phoenix, Arizona is from Dallas is not political. I think we agree on that. The same way is just rolling in absolute facts, information that can help you make a better informed decision is not political. And I'm not going to get into politics. I'm not going to get into who did what and why and whose fault it is and all that. I'm not getting into all that. People can debate that for 1,000 years and they'll never agree. So I'm not getting into that. But I have taken a little bit of flack because I have posted on some of my sites or social sites and to other folks that I really didn't think this was going to get much worse than 500 to 10,000 casualties, victims, deaths from this. So that was 5 to 10,000. And a lot of people took that as though I didn't care that 10,000 or 500 people died. Well, that's not what I was saying at all. I was just pointing out, and I'm going to roll in the statistics from the CDC to back up what I was saying. And that's another thing folks were saying, says, oh, you have inaccurate information. You got to get it from reliable sources. Well, I've been quoting from the CDC and the WHO, so what other credible sources do you want? I guess we could argue if they're credible sources or not, and that is a legitimate argument, but I was quoting those, okay? So, my main objective is to reduce the panic and the fear, and to allow RVers, travelers, or anybody be more prepared, make better informed decisions, and understand that this is not near as bad as it seems. Let's just say it that way. Whether you want to say the news is doing it, the government's doing it, the whoever's doing it, people believe that this is really, really, really bad. Worst pandemic that we've ever had, next to the 1918 pandemic and all this stuff. And I got a car coming by, so I got to pause for a minute. So my point has always been, it says, well, let's look at the facts, the data that we have, not just here in the US, but across the world, to make a more informed decision. And the fact is that even today, even, you know, here in the 1st of April, still, and not that this is a good number, but still, the amount of deaths and the amount of infected is a mere fraction, a fraction of what we have each and every year with a seasonal flu. A fraction of what we have with the H1N1, which everybody knows is the swine flu, which is still around. And there's other pandemics and other diseases and other accidents where there's thousands of people dying each and every day. So unfortunately in life, people do die, you know. So we sort of got to be mature about it, adults, and say, yes, we know that, that's part of life. But the question is, with one like the pandemic we got now, that's just a mere fraction of all those others that's going on right now. Do we shut down the entire country? Do we close all the parks? Do we put millions of mom and pop businesses out of business? Do we put hundreds of thousands of people or hundreds of millions of people out of work that now don't know how they're going to pay their mortgage at the end of the month, how they're going to put food on the table, how they're going to pay their credit cards? So for that mere fraction, do we cause all that problems when we've got other problems, multiple other problems that's hundreds of times worse, and we don't do anything about it? Most don't even think about it. So that's my point. It's not to get political or to disagree with anybody. I just say, here's the facts. Phoenix, Arizona is to the west of Dallas. That's all I'm saying, okay? And if you want to say it's to the east of Dallas, well, fine. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just stating the information I found and what I think, and that I think people should not overreact, should not panic. Just be informed, be prepared, stay safe, and let's weather this storm. It won't last forever. In fact, it's going to be over real soon. So let's stay positive, let's help each other, and let's get through this.
Okay, first, let me repeat that I deeply care about everyone and their families who have been infected or have died from this COVID-19 pandemic, or any disease as far as that goes. So please, don't think I am saying it is okay for anyone to die or get sick, because I'm not. Nor am I saying it's somehow okay for people 70 years old and older to die or get sick, because I'm not. And I have never said such a horrible thing. Now, I'm going to run through the CDC numbers real quick so it's not too boring, although I do want to show you the figures from the CDC so you know what I'm talking about. And of course, I will share links to all this information down in the description below this video. So if you want to go back and check my figures, please do, and let me know if you find any discrepancies or if you interpret the information differently. And I should point out the obvious, but it's worth mentioning. I think we can all agree numbers, statistics can change over time and change per source you're getting them from. So please take that in consideration. Although regardless, all the sources I've used and the numbers that keep coming out, even if they're a little different or even 1,000 different, my point is still the same. It does not affect my final point. So the first chart I would like to share with you and call your attention to is two numbers off this chart. This is a world chart for COVID. As of March the 30th, 2020, at 1:59 a.m. Eastern Time. So the top two numbers I would like you to look at is at the top left of the total confirmed cases worldwide is 723. And then over to the right in the white numbers, total deaths is 34,000 or 34,005. So those are the two numbers that's important here to this next chart. So 34,005. Now, in this chart, it's showing the different pandemics on the left-hand column, and the right-hand column is the deaths for the world. And again, these are CDC data from 3/30/2020 at around 2 a.m. Eastern Time. So we've got tuberculosis, the yearly average is 1.3 million. We've got the H1N1 flu pandemic that started in 2009, that's still around today, by the way, and it's 575,400. We have the seasonal flu that happens every year and is still around. So far, this flu season, there's 468,500 deaths from the seasonal flu. Now we've got the COVID-19 or the coronavirus of 2020. The deaths are 34,000. So if you go up that chart, 34,000 compared to 468,000 or 575,000 or over a million, 34,000 is a fraction of those others. That's my point. The COVID-19 is a fraction of the threat that many other current pandemics or current health, disease, and threats that are currently happening right now. That's the whole point. Now, this is the U.S. chart for COVID-19 or coronavirus, however you want to say it. So this is for the U.S. specifically. So the two numbers we're looking for in this chart, again, is up at the top left, the red number under total confirmed cases is 143,000. And over to the right, the white number is the total deaths, which is 2,509. Now this chart combines both the world and the U.S. numbers. So again, we've got the pandemics on the left-hand side, and following to the right, each column, you got the cases in the U.S. The next column is deaths, U.S. And finally on the right, which was already seen, is the deaths in the world. And you go all the way to the bottom row, where it's the COVID-19 or coronavirus of 2020. In any other columns, whether it's cases, U.S., deaths, U.S., or deaths, world, every number is a mere fraction of the other pandemics, other diseases, other threats. So I'm going to leave this just a moment so you can look at that. So you compare each column. It doesn't matter whether it's just cases, deaths, U.S., or deaths, world. And again, no death is good. I don't know why I have to keep saying that, but it seems like I do. I'm not saying death is good. I'm just saying that the COVID-19 is a mere fraction of the threats that's currently going on in the U.S. and around the world. So my question has always been, why? I think that's a legitimate question. Why didn't we shut down this country, destroy our economy, put millions of mom and pop businesses in risk? In fact, millions have closed already. Why did we put hundreds of millions of Americans out of work that's trying to figure out how they're going to pay their mortgage here in a couple days, how they're going to put food on the table next month, how they're going to pay their credit cards? Why didn't we shut down this country for these other pandemics that are many, 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 many times worse, that happen every year? Would you agree that's a legitimate question based on these numbers from the CDC? You might disagree with me, but that's been my whole point all along, that I don't see it as big of threat as all the other threats out there. That's been my whole point all along, and I've taken a lot of heat for it. But this is why I'm saying it. So I hope everybody sees why I'm saying it now and goes to the CDC website, confirms my numbers, and understands my point of view, where I was coming from. I wasn't just blindly throwing out numbers from somewhere that's unreliable, just out of my head, and being irresponsible that way. I was not, and I am not. And further proof or evidence of my point is Dr. Elizabeth Wheeler, M.D., from the epicenter of Washington State. That's where it all started here in the United States, is up there in Washington. So she's treating these patients, and she's saying that the COVID-19 people need to stop panicking over. That at the end of the day, at worst, it's going to be no worse than the seasonal flu that we have each and every year. Do you get that? This doctor that's treating COVID-19 patients is saying, stop panicking. COVID-19 is no worse than the common, everyday, every season, seasonal flu. And just a quick shout out to a fellow YouTuber, Sean, over there at Long Long Honeymoon, and I'll have the link down below in the description below this video. I saw Dr. Wheeler's interview on his channel, and she is actually his, or Sean's, sister. So Sean over there at Long Long Honeymoon, his sister, is the Dr. Wheeler in Washington, and he had an excellent interview with her, and she's going to tell you exactly what's going on, what she's seeing, what you can do to protect yourself, and the reasons you should not be panicking. You should get out, you should exercise, you should travel, you should enjoy life. And don't stop living just because the rest of the country and the rest of the world is panicking and make a bigger deal out of this COVID-19 than it needs to be.
Okay, so that's my 2 cents. So everybody, until next time, have safe and happy travels until we meet again.
Now, if you found any of this information helpful, please comment and like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, may everyone have safe and happy travels wherever life leads you.
All I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well,